All right, it is time for Friday Reads. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. In my Friday Reads videos, I share the books that I finished, the books that I started, and anything interesting about books that I'm carrying over week to week. I still remember this spiel. Oh my goodness gracious. I think it's over a year since I don't know if I did a Friday Reads last year or not. And this actually might go up on Monday, but I kind of am like, I think I want to do Friday Reads again. And inspired by the video that I did recently where I went through some of the books in my collection or the books that I own that I haven't read, I'll link that video up above and down below. But I just thought it would be fun to read create a TBR starting with the books that I haven't read that start with the letter A. So I just ran around and just found books that start with the letter A, checked my spreadsheet, found some more, and then went through them and tried to decide what I was going to read. So I'm going to go through what I ended up choosing to start and my initial thoughts on those titles, and then I'll talk a little bit about the other books that I am also reading. So it's a bit of a non-traditional Friday Reads. It doesn't fit the actual structure. I have not finished anything this year, and I'm okay with that. I have no idea how my reading is going to be this year, but I mean... From last year, I think we can only go up. Not like it's a numbers thing, or I don't have any particular goals except for reading. So like I'm not worried about numbers, challenges. At some point, I'll probably set goals in terms of different kinds of books I like to read, like genres or subgenres or like focuses and stuff like that. But for right now, I just want to simply read. So let's see what I chose from the selections from that video. I think it ended up being 10 books, and I did go with 4. And so first up, I did decide to go with The Artist's Handbook by Ray Smith. This is a very hefty, heavy nonfiction art book. And it's I have started it, and I don't know how many pages I've read, but it's like small text and pretty scientific. Like so far, like I've read the section about pigments, and I like the charts. I'll admit I didn't read every single thing on every part of the charts. I was oddly interested in whether or not things were toxic. That was sort of like the health rating was what stood out to me the most. But like they even have like chemistry compound like things. I don't remember what those are called. Diagrams? What are those called? Those are what compounds look like? Is that the molecules? Molecules. I did not make it through chemistry. Science was not my forte. Math, yes. Science, no. I know that that's a bit unusual, but I don't even remember if I took chemistry. I think I might have started it and then dropped it, but I stuck with biology. I can't remember if I finished biology. If I did, it was not a good mark. I decided to go to art school, so my focus changed. Anyway, and initially I was thinking about doing something more along like physiotherapy and sports therapy, so biology made sense. Anyway, chemistry is also helpful in that situation. Anyway, this is many years later. So this one, I don't know if I've dipped into it over the years. I'm sure I have. I imagine I have. I don't know. But so far, it's mostly just been about pigment and stuff like that. And next up, I have the next section is about oils. So I am curious. This is very much more technical than I thought. I thought it would be a bit more technique related, and I think it does get to techniques and stuff. But right now, yeah, I love working in content and not chalk so much. Charcoal, compressed charcoal. I mean, yeah, good stuff. Okay, so I'm enjoying this. Sort of. I mean, it's kind of boring, to be frank. It's very dry, and the chemistry stuff is just like, whatever. But what I'm enjoying about it is that I'm feeling a bit more at ease with sort of picking and choosing as opposed to reading every word, which is something that I used to be much more adamant about. This is sort of like, okay, this is of interest, and this is less of interest, and let's just keep going. But I think reading something like this front to back is not actually how it's intended, but I enjoy it because then it's just, you don't have to make decisions, and then I can feel like it's done when I'm done reading it, and then still keep it as a reference manual. That still is very much how my mind works. So yeah, so we'll see where we go with oils, but this will be a long read if I do choose to keep going the whole way, because I think I'm on page like 38 of like 350, so, which is actually not too bad. Next up, I did choose another nonfiction. This probably is no surprise. I was very enthusiastic about it with the TBR-ish video, and that is The Art of Watching Film, 5th edition by Joseph M. Boggs and Dennis W. Petrie. I did also choose to read like the forewords and intros to all of the works. All of the nonfiction-ish works. I did choose to do that, so that gave me a bit of a slow start. And this one, like the intro was interesting, but it's a very much more. It kind of felt like a speech someone would give at a book launch. Like, it was very personal about the process of writing it, as opposed to like what you're gonna get into from reading it. I don't know if that's normal and I've just never noticed, or if it just happens to be the case with, like, especially the art book and this book both had sort of a more personal touch in the sort of foreword or whatever. I don't know what it's called. Preface? 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 I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. It wasn't totally like that, but you know, it's lots of thank yous and stuff like that. And also the guy who wrote this one took the reins from someone who passed away. So there was quite a personal story, and I think that person sounded like they were kind of like a mentor. So there was some heart to it. This has been interesting so far. I did get into also the first chapter, which I can't remember. I think it's sort of like, yeah, I finished chapter 1. Go me! And chapter 1 was called Film Analysis. I can't. That's all I got. Hang on. Film Analysis. The cinema is a work of art when motion conforms to a perceptible rhythm with pause and pace, and where all aspects of the continuous image relate to the whole. That is a quote from director Joseph von Sternberg. So, but it's weird because then the picture is from Seventh Seal, which is by Ingmar Bergman, so it's a bit weird. Anyway, so this one I'm really enjoying, and I do feel like, I think I said in the other video that it was a bit more like about history, like, and it's not. It's actually really what it says on the tin, the art of watching film, and it's about like critical thinking or critical analysis, film analysis, but it doesn't, so far, it says it's not trying to separate out the intellectual from the emotional, and go like, because you have and it did talk about how like our first reaction or our surface reaction might be an emotional reaction, but there is also value in the critical analysis of a film, and that can make you appreciate the film more. I don't know how I feel on that, like if it's cut and dry, but I think eventually it got to the point where I was saying it's not cut and dry. There is value in both, and there's more, but it was also making the argument that there's more value if you do both. You can enjoy the film even more if you analyze it. I think one of the things I just said in the other video was that for me, I can't remember what it was. I'm rusty. But it was something to the effect of, I enjoy learning about film. I do enjoy analyzing film to a certain extent, but I'm not so interested in knowing the technical behind the scenes, how they did it. And not because I don't have interest in that kind of thing, but for me, it sort of breaks the illusion. I don't want to be thinking about, how did they get the shot? Like, where is the camera right now? What was, what filter did they use? Or is that a stand-in? Or is that a stunt person? Or is that the actor? I don't want to be thinking about those things. I want to be experiencing the film as a viewer, not thinking about those things. I do like to think about themes. This does talk about that a lot. I'm not always the best at picking out themes, whether it's in a film or whether it's in a book. I tend to pick out moments, like scenes, over themes. Do you have that happen to you? Do you have a tendency to one towards the other? It's one of the reasons why I think I wasn't a great English student, is because I don't sort of see the whole. I very much can see the parts. I can't put together arguments for like things to back up like things over a long period of time. I mean, it's a skill I could cultivate if I want to, but for me, they're like, I'm more likely to pick out like a moment in time, a scene, a transition, something like that, like the energy in the room, that kind of stuff is where I'm drawn to. And so like a whole theme, I'll just miss it, and then essentially it's so funny because I'll talk to my sisters and they're like, well, it was about blank. And I'm like, oh, because they both were really good in English and I was not. So, but, anyway, but and I really value that because it's like, then I can see it, and so anyway, but it's really funny. I'm really funny. Anyway, so I am enjoying this one. I'm definitely going to keep reading. I feel assured that they've talked about both like our initial reaction plus critical analysis, and I'm curious about that. I don't know how often I critically analyze things. I mean, I can be critical, but that's not the same as analyzing something. So anyway, that was a big win, but it is a slow read. I'm on page 10. 10. So, I got like 30 pages of the art book and 10 of that, but the film book does have photos. Oh, and it's interesting to see the time. Okay, one, this must be pretty old because this defaults to he pronouns. The artist, he sees the vision as, so it's older. But this one talks about how, now with technology, you can watch something again and again because, you can watch it on VHS. Or DVD or Laserdisc. So it's in the time period where Laserdisc was like, almost gonna take off, and then never did. So, but also just thinking sort of more generally, it is, and now it's completely different because we can watch things streaming. We can stop, start, and rewatch the same section if we want again and again and again. And although you could do that on DVD and VHS, I don't think people did do that. You tend to watch the whole thing. You might skip a scene or go back or whatever, but I think you tend to watch it start to finish. But now you can just watch a segment of it easily online or like through a streaming service. So it's now already a completely different viewing experience versus prior to that seeing something only in the cinema or maybe seeing it on television. And then if you see it on television, it might be, there's commercial breaks and it could be edited. So it's interesting to see that as well. So the foreword was worth reading for those notations as well. I also decided to read, this probably also is no surprise, I decided to read And Do You Have Anything Else? This is audition pieces from Canadian plays, and this has a foreword by John Murrell, edited by Margaret, Peter, Messaline, and Miriam Newhouse, and this has been great. There's been some things that have been, it actually has the scenes are timed. Like it says, so this one's from Goodnight, Desdemona, Good Morning, Juliet, and it says how long it is. 1 minute, 25 seconds is how long. And then after, so it has scenes, like a monologue that you could use as an audition piece. It has the play, the text, and then the editor note, like this one says, keep a balance between the wonderfully comic passion and the relatively strict meter. Oh yeah, because I think this one is in, I don't remember if it's in iambic pentameter or if it's in something. I don't remember. Sorry, it's been a while since I read it. It uses an outdated word, so I'm not going to read the next part of that. It's okay in this context, but we generally don't use it anymore. And then it has a bio of the playwright. So I have been loving this. No surprise. I mean, I love reading plays. I love theater. And so I have really been enjoying this one. It does section them out too. And I guess this is pretty common. It has all the ones for women and then the ones for men. So I'm reading the ones for women, and it starts in the shortest to longest. But I don't think, like, the first one was under a minute, and then the last one is 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Okay, so that's a lot longer. So, White Biting Dog by Judith Thompson. I did see a work by Judith Thompson, I believe. So, and that's also been interesting because they also talk about the playwrights and they have their bios and they say what theaters, like what theater it debuted in Canada. And a lot of them are familiar to me because I worked in theater. So, you know, and even some of the names of some of the people and some of the, I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that that was at that theater. And like, so it's just kind of like, there's a lot there for me and I'm enjoying it. I will say some of the pieces are tough. And I can understand that because with an audition piece, I guess you want to get like an emotional journey, show that you have range or like can do certain things. But some of them have been tough and some of the topics have been tough. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case through all of the audition pieces and see if there's a difference in the ones that they have that are under the women's and under the men's. So it's been great. It's also, it turns out, because I read the foreword for this one as well, this is actually sort of a part 2. They did do a book earlier for Canadian audition pieces from Canadian plays. So this one is the second one and it's within a 10-year period and it seems like it's between the mid-80s to the mid-90s is when the plays for this one, because the ones I've read so far are all been, I think, from the 80s. So that's been great. In terms of the romances, I decided that there was 2 in contention and I decided to go with Adam's Fall by Sandra Brown, mostly because this one is, Sandra Brown is a favorite author of Nicole from Who Picked This Book, and that's why I picked this one up. And I've never read her before, and she does, I think she mostly does contemporary, and then she also does suspense, and all the suspense ones look too suspenseful for me. So that's one of the reasons why I picked this one up. And I have been enjoying it. It's a tough one because it is, again, it's an older work at like 84, I think. No. '88. Okay, so originally copyrighted 88, and then this edition was, and that was a Love Swept. And this particular edition came out in 94. There are definitely some outdated things in here. There's one depiction of one character that's actually quite like kind of offensive. Like racist wise. And so that's a little uncomfortable. It's a side character, you know, but it's like, I don't know, like it's one of those things, like I find it hard to figure out how, like, you know, is that uncommon at this particular time? No. Is it wrong? Yes. What should I do about reading a work that has that? I don't know. I find that complicated and it's not part of the main story. And I think it's meant to be sort of kind, like sort of character. I don't know. Anyway, but it's not the main focus. And so I feel complicated about that stuff and I don't know the answer to what do I do in that situation. So I'm going to leave it there because I literally don't know. So, like, I think you have to, like, understand the time, but I'm like, this is not that long ago. It's not that long ago. Anyway, so, just for some more context, it sort of, like, phonetically says the accent that they're speaking with, you know, for an Asian character, and I find it very uncomfortable. So that's the thing that I'm struggling with. But then in terms of the story, like without question, this is not necessarily a story type that I would pick up. And hilariously, the title kind of tells you, it says Adam's Fall. There's a character named Adam and he has a fall. So it's like very literal. And so this is like an enemies to lovers. I imagine they'll get to the lovers part. It's 2 people that do not like each other. We have Adam has had a injury, and if he does not do physiotherapy soon, he is going to not regain mobility. And also his mobility is not 100% guaranteed because you can't guarantee stuff like that. And then the love interest, she is a physiotherapist. So for me, there are so many things that are like, no, I do not like reading romances that are sort of where there's a power dynamic of employer-employee. This is a bit more like contracted, but also they do have a pre-existing, like they do already know each other and they don't like each other. And I'm actually kind of on the fence on that. Like for me, one of the things I am enjoying about this is that they have a dynamic, right? Like they're working with something. There are feelings there, lots of them. So I don't love the enemies to lovers, but you can't deny that there's a lot of intensity and there's a lot of feels in that. And for me, that definitely brings something to the table. I do also have a challenge with stories like this that sort of present something like I don't know where it's going to go, but often this sort of, especially in like TV and stuff like this, like when they have stories where someone loses their mobility, often they get it back by the end of the hour through science, through, you often, I mean, I watch a lot of science fiction, so usually the answer is some kind of technological answer. And I do feel complicated about that because then it negates, the fact that, it gives a happily ever after because they regain their mobility. And I think that that's not a great message. So I have lots of complicated feelings about a lot of things going on in this book, but I have flown through it. I have definitely read the most out of any of it at 42 pages. And the last time I read it, I read like a good 25 pages, which is well more than any of the other books. I do sort of savor the plays. This one I usually read sort of like 5, and it's only 100 pages long, so I don't want to completely gobble it up. But this one, I find I'm in it. Like when I'm reading it, I'm in it. Although I might be reacting strongly to some of the things and not enjoying some of the things, and I don't know where the story's going to go. Like maybe he won't regain his mobility, and maybe they will deal with that in a good way, showing that that's not the only outcome. But honestly, it's a romance novel and that's probably not what's going to happen. So so anyway, this is complicated, but I chose it. It's a short one. I had a reason when I bought it, and it's funny because when I picked it from the list, I remembered like, oh yeah, there was something complicated about this, but I can't remember what it was. And that's what I think it was, the combination of, I think it was the issue about the mobility. So we'll see where it goes. But it's also almost the shortest. This one's 100 pages. This one's 185. And then Art of Watching Film was 500. And the Artist Handbook is like 350. So, I mean, I'm pretty confident these ones are going to be first to the finish line. But I'm not going to worry about that. And I still don't know how to structure this whole like challenge thing. Like, I don't know. Do I finish 2 and then look at the B's? Do I finish 2 and then go back to the remaining A's? I'm not sure. I'm not stressed about it. So I think I'll just keep on going and see where things go. In terms of other things that I am reading, I'm also reading The Dire King by William Ritter. This is the 4th and final book in the Jackaby series, and I am buddy reading it with Izzy and Kay Kelly. And we read the first 3 books last year, and then we decided to take December off because, for me, it's hard to commit to something in December for reading, and we also had Grinchathon that Izzy hosted, so we all got to read whatever we wanted, so we're back to this one, the 4th in the Jackaby series. It's a historical urban fantasy series. I can't really say much about it because it's the 4th in the series. I have heard people comment that it's kind of like like a historical Doctor Who vibes, and I can sort of see that. I can see that the dynamic, there's some dynamics that do match up with that, but it is a bit more like if that was urban fantasy as opposed to science fiction, because it is definitely urban fantasy in terms of the fantastical elements and people that they encounter. So I am enjoying this one. I can't remember the date of the live show. I'll put it down below if you happen to be needing to read that one last book in the series. You are, of course, welcome to join us. I am also reading a graphic novel. I'm reading The New Girl by Cassandra. Calin. This is actually recommended to me by Izzy, and it is Canadian work. So that's been really cool. I've been reading this really slowly, and that has totally worked for me. Like, I read like 1 chapter a day, and I'm loving it. So, and this is about a girl who comes to Canada. She from Romania, and she's in Quebec. Her family moves to Quebec. She's like, I don't know, like between 11 and 14, so those years. And her parents decide to put her in French immersion, and she doesn't really know French. So she's really struggling with school, the language, trying to make friends, all of the kinds of changes that happen at those ages and all the concerns that happen in those ages, plus, you know, moving from one country to another. So there's a cultural shift, and then also the language shift. So she's having quite a time, but it's also done with some humor, and I am really enjoying it. So thank you to Izzy for that recommendation, and you know, hopefully I will, you know, finish it. But again, I'm not actually super concerned about finishes and timing and numbers. It's so strange to me, but I have done so much more reading, like, since I picked those titles. Like, it's I don't know, it's just turning a leaf, I guess, or something, and I'm really thrilled about that, because I did very little reading all of last year and most of the year before, so it's been really nice to get back at it. So that is what I am reading. Let me know what you're reading recently, and I do kind of want to get back to Friday Reads. I have to see if I am consistent enough with my reading that I would have more updates, and I will think a little bit about structure in terms of the potential challenge of working through the alphabet. I did also just notice the camera sort of go in and out, and I do apologize that I'm using a different app, and it does seem to zoom in and zoom out, you know, and it's fine. Now it's not doing it, but when I watched it on faster speed on YouTube, it's not doing it. It was a lot more noticeable. I shouldn't have mentioned anything, because now you might look for it. So anyway, but it gives a nicer image than my other camera. And I think for some reason, the other app, when I upload it to YouTube, it's only SD. Even though the file isn't, like, the files, if I film them on this app or the other app, it looks the same to me. But with the other app, it only uploads as SD. And I'm like, why? Why did you do that to me? So anyway, so that is what I have been reading recently. I hope that you enjoy that. I'm not actually sure if this is going to go up on Friday or Monday. I am going to try and do some other videos. I have some film videos planned, and then I would like to do some sort of like favorites from last year in terms of TV and film. I didn't read enough books. I didn't read enough books to do any favorites. And I would like to do like a I don't know how to phrase it, because it's kind of like, it kind of be like, watch me struggle through trying to navigate Libby video, because I have not had any luck having lists on Libby like stay. They always disappear the next time I log in, and I just don't navigate it very well. So I thought I would do like a record on the computer kind of thing, trying to navigate Libby. To just one, I don't know, it might be funny, but also two, just be like, I don't know, like, it might be also a fun way to kind of pick a TBR or find things or something, I don't know. So something in that vein. It needs a little more structure other than watch me flounder. Because although that's fun, I kind of feel like we need a goal to try not to flounder as opposed to just watching the floundering. We'll see. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So those are some potential video ideas of things that I'm hoping for, but I do have some film one plans. The rest of it needs a little more help, a little more structure before I can do it. So there we go. There's Friday Reads, my first of the year, first of 2026. And I'm so thankful and happy to get some reading. Thank you to everyone who watched my first video this year. It was really nice to come back from such a long period of time and to be welcomed with like comments and likes and watches like right away. It was really, really nice, because you never know when you take a break how it's going to be when you come back. So I really appreciate everyone who has watched that video, and or of course this one as well. So it's really nice. I missed making videos. I missed chatting with people, and so it's been wonderful to come back. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with another video soon. Take care.